My name is Sarah.spicer and I work for the Environment and Waste team, and this video is for our Milton Keynes Council staff recycling champions to explain to you what can and can't be recycled by Milton Keynes Council and also what happens to the recycling and waste. So let's start. First of all, this is one of our vehicles. This is called a one-pass vehicle, and it's the collection vehicle used by Serco crews to come and collect the rubbish and the recycling from all the properties in Milton Keynes. We have 19 of these lorries, and they go out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday to collect both rubbish and recycling. And it's normally a driver with 2 workers. At the back of the vehicle, the truck is divided into 2 sections. One side is for the black bin bag waste and the other side is for the recycling. At the side of the vehicle is where we collect the glass bottles and jars from the blue boxes. So let's go through and we'll talk through what goes into each of the recycling containers. The clear sack. This is where we collect most of our recycling here in Milton Keynes. And we collect paper in all its different forms. It can be magazines, newspaper, writing paper. Also envelopes. We do accept window envelopes. Not a problem. We did used to ask you to remove the windows, but now the manufacturers have changed the windows and so they are recyclable. So please put in your envelopes into recycling. Cardboard. It can be from a cereal box or maybe from an online order box. Please break the box down so that it fits inside the sack. This way it keeps the cardboard dry and stops it from breaking down if it gets slightly damp at the roadside. We also accept juice and milk cartons, obviously empty. Plastic bottles, they could have held milk, water, fizzy drinks and so forth. We also accept those plastic bottles that have pumps or triggers in them as well. Those can go in the recycling bag. Top tip with plastic bottles is to wash, squash and then the lid back on. We do accept the lid separately, but if possible, please do pop it back onto the plastic bottle. Sometimes the lids fall through the machinery at the recycling factory and we have to sweep them up and put them back in again, but you can put them in loose, it's not a problem. Plastic food tubs. So these can be things like yoghurt pots, strawberry punnets, the tubs that you've received, that you had butter in, that kind of thing. What we can't accept though are the rip-off lids. So from your yoghurt pots or from your strawberries, the tear-off lid can't be recycled, unfortunately. We also accept cans, and these can be both steel and aluminium. The steel cans are generally what we have our food in, so it can be soup, baked beans, tinned tomatoes. The fizzy drink cans are generally aluminium. We accept those, so they can be Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Dr Pepper and so forth, all can go in the clear sack. We also accept tin foil, so it may be from quiche or pies, or even if you've had a takeaway, the foil trays that your takeaway comes in can be recycled. And also aerosol spray cans. As long as they're empty, we can accept those. So they may have had hairspray, squirty cream and so on. All of those into the clear sack, please. The recycling from the clear sacks comes here to the recycling factory, here in Old Wolverton. Here we sort the different materials using machinery and staff to separate out the steel from the aluminium, the paper from the cardboard and the different types of plastic. Once separated, the materials are compacted into bales, which are 1 metre cubed, each weighing nearly a tonne. These are then sent off to factories to be recycled. Paper is recycled into other kinds of forms of paper. So things like newspaper, toilet rolls, tissues, egg cartons. And the way that works is it goes off to a factory. It's essentially like a massive washing machine where the paper is washed, it starts to break down, cleaning agents are put through to take out the colour, the water is then allowed to run out, it's rolled out, allowed to dry and becomes paper all over again. Paper can be recycled between 5 and 6 times before the fibres become too weak and its last life will be as tissue. We can also recycle the cans, and these are sent off to furnaces. These are fires over 1,000 degrees hot, and at 1,000 degrees the steel and the aluminium will both melt down. They can then be remoulded and made back into cans all over again. A baked bean can that you're placing into your clear sack will actually be sent off, melted down and is back on the shelves, back in the supermarkets about 6 weeks after you've placed it into your clear sack. Plastic bottles are chipped down into tiny fragments. They go into a machine called a flotation tank. The different kinds of plastic have different densities and so they float at different levels. The plastics are then removed and can then be recycled, much of the time straight back into plastic bottles. But plastic can also be recycled into other products, such as traffic cones and carpet fibres and even clothing. Plastics from yoghurt pots and fruit tubs and so forth are chipped down and turned into eco-board, and that's then turned into products such as this picnic table. The problem at the recycling factory is we receive a lot of items that are incorrect, and these are two of the worst culprits that we receive at the factory. Dirty nappies, dirty disposable nappies, and also hypodermic needles and syringes. On average, at the recycling factory, we receive about 300 dirty nappies in the recycling daily. And unfortunately, these not only spoil the good recycling that they touch onto, but also have to be manually removed off of the conveyor belt by the staff. We also have a lot of problems around needles, obviously that has the potential to be very hazardous to our staff. The other item we receive regularly, which we don't want in the clear sack, are clothing. We stopped accepting textiles for recycling in the clear sack back in 2015, but unfortunately we still receive clothing daily. Please remember to take clothing to the local charity shop or dropping off at the textile bring banks. Also, some local schools have collection systems through either Bag to School or the Salvation Army. So, let's have a look at Blue Box and what goes in our blue recycling box. We accept glass from bottles and jars. The lids, they would go into the clear recycling sack. The glass from bottles and jars is sent off up to a furnace, and there it's melted down and then remoulded simply back into brand new glass bottles and jars. We accept all the different colours of glass, both clear, brown and green, all in the blue box, and within the furnace, green is the dominant colour, so all Milton Keynes glass is recycled back into green glass bottles. Now, not all items made of glass can be recycled because of the quality levels. Unfortunately, things like wine glasses, light bulbs, mirrors, and broken glass on the whole, unfortunately, we cannot recycle in the blue box. That needs to be wrapped carefully and placed into your black bin bag. So it is just glass bottles and jars in your blue box, please. The grey caddy is for collecting food waste in, and it's vitally important that we keep food waste out of the black bin. For residents living in flats, we can also provide these smaller mini green caddies. And this is for collecting food waste, as I say, and that can be any food waste, so fruit peelings, vegetable peelings, bones, meat, fish and so forth, leftover dinner, plate scrapings, and any food, whether it's gone out of date or it's mouldy, doesn't matter. Food waste that cannot be reheated or reused another time needs to go into the grey caddy and be kept separate, not going into the black bin bag. The problem here in Milton Keynes is when food goes into the black bin bag, it then attracts vermin, it attracts foxes, rats, birds, even cats will split open your bin bag to get hold of the food inside. And obviously it's very unsightly in town as well. Food waste needs to be going instead into your green wheeled bin. So you can either tip the contents from your caddy in, or you can wrap it in newspaper to keep it all neat and tidy. In addition to food waste, you can add garden waste into your green bin. And that includes things like grass cuttings, dead flowers and weeds, leaves, and even small branches and twigs can also go into your green wheeled bin. The green bins are taken by separate vehicle to the one pass that we saw earlier. We've got 10 of these tipping trucks. The food and garden waste is taken to an in-vessel composting facility in Cambridgeshire in St Ives. And here the food and garden waste is shredded down and then allowed to compost down. And the compost that's created over the next few weeks and months is then passed on to the agricultural industry for them to use to start growing new food and crops. The yellow bag is for collecting household batteries in. And these can be your just everyday household batteries, but also things like laptop and mobile phone batteries, and even the small coin or button batteries as well. Fill up your yellow bag. When your bag is full, seal it down, pop it on top of your green wheeled bin. The crew will then take the yellow bag. When we accept it, we actually class batteries as hazardous waste, so there's a special compartment on the green collection vehicle for putting the batteries into. The crew should leave you with a yellow bag to start all over again. The batteries from Milton Keynes are taken off and sent to furnaces, and again they're melted down, the different metals extracted and are recycled. You can also drop off used batteries at your local supermarket or DIY store for recycling. The black bin bag. So this is for items that can't be recycled here in Milton Keynes. And these are the most common items that we're going to go through together now, that most households throw away. Crisp packets, biscuit wrappers and sweetie wrappers cannot be recycled by Milton Keynes Council. There are groups around Milton Keynes who collect on behalf of a company called TerraCycle that raise money for charities, and you can find more details about them online, but as a council we do not and cannot accept these items for recycling. So if you're not part of the TerraCycle scheme, please place these items into the black bin bag. Tissues and hand towels. Although these are made of paper, this is their last life as a piece of recycled paper, so please place these in your black bin bag. They're snotty, they're grotty, we don't want them. Disposable coffee cups. We can't recycle these. Please place these in your black bin bag. Animal waste. Whether it's animal poo, whether it's cat litter, dog faeces, bedding from gerbils, straw, hay, whichever. Unfortunately, we can't recycle these in the green bin. Please place them into the black bin bag. Animal waste is still governed by many regulations that came in after the foot and mouth disease back in the 1990s. So please place all these items into the black bin bag. And while we're talking about poo, nappies, we can't recycle these. As we saw earlier, they're a real problem up at the recycling factory. All nappies, whether they're used or unused, dirty or wet, black bin bag please. The black bin bags here in Milton Keynes don't go to landfill. It's a common misconception that rubbish in Milton Keynes does. It doesn't. It comes here to this factory, which is just across the road from the recycling factory. It's known as the Waste Recovery Park. And here, the lorries drop off the black bin bags. The first part of the factory they come into is here, and that is actually a small mini recycling factory. So we open up the black bin bags and we will look for items that could have been recycled if they'd been placed in the recycling sack. Those are items such as steel cans, aluminium cans, plastic bottles and so forth, and those are mechanically retrieved. At the back of the factory we have an anaerobic digester. This is where any food waste that has been placed in black bin bags in error goes off to be made into a compost. This compost is actually only fit for brownfield sites though, such as construction sites. It cannot be used by homeowners or the agricultural industry. Rubbish left after the recycling and the food waste has been retrieved then go into the main part of the factory, which is called an advanced thermal treatment plant. And here the bin bags and the contents are essentially cooked. And that creates a gas. We then burn the gas, in turn that turns turbines, and in turn that creates electricity. That electricity then feeds the factory, and any surplus is fed back into the national grid. As a result of this amazing factory, Milton Keynes Council has actually been able to establish 97.4% diversion from landfill. That remaining 2.6 are from items that have remained uncombusted at the end of the process, and also from cleaning products used within the facility. As you can see from above, we have the Waste Recovery Park, where the black bin bags are dropped off. We have the Milton Keynes Recycling Factory, where the clear sacks and glass from the blue boxes are dropped off. And next door is the Serco Vehicle Depot. By bringing all of these three facilities together, Milton Keynes Council has made substantial savings, both in diesel and time, of the crews spent out on the road collecting the rubbish and recycling. Most people in Milton Keynes are putting at least one thing they shouldn't into their recycling. Putting the wrong things in can spoil good recycling and even cause whole truckloads to be rejected. Here are our 5 rules of thumb to help you recycle correctly. Number 1. Update your recycling knowledge. Just because it looks recyclable doesn't mean we can recycle it here in Milton Keynes. Visit our website to check what you know. Number 2. If in doubt, leave it out. Being a good recycler is as much about what you leave out of your recycling as what you put in. If you are unsure about anything, put it in your black sack. No food or drink should go in your recycling sack, not even crumbs. Make sure items are empty, clean and dry. Wet and dirty items can spoil other recycling while it's being processed. Nothing else goes in your recycling. If you're struggling with too much waste or aren't sure how to recycle, get in touch and we can help. So, as a recycling champion, you now have the knowledge as to what we can and cannot recycle here in Milton Keynes. And we'd ask that you share that knowledge with your colleagues, but also reassure your colleagues that you're not there to check up on them. You are there to help and support and advise them. So, as you become a recycling champion, where your staff Recycling Champions badge so that colleagues can see that you are somebody that they can approach and ask any queries when it comes to recycling or waste. Visit the intranet and to head for the recycling pages. There you will find lots of information and support as a recycling champion, plus lots of posters and guidance for you in your work area. Start thinking about things you can also do on a personal level to start thinking about reducing your waste. And it may be simple swaps, such as swapping to a reusable water bottle or a coffee mug, even coming to work and bring your sandwiches in a tub rather than in a sandwich bag. Then start thinking about your workplace and where you can make changes in your working practices. Say you use a lot of electronic equipment, could you swap over the batteries to rechargeables? Start looking at your working practice if you can look at making waste reductions in how much paper you print or how much shredding you create. And then think maybe a little further ahead in the future, think about things you can do as a team. You might think about doing a litter pick and helping your local community. As a recycling champion, we're here to support you as best we can, both myself, Sarah.spicer in the waste team, and also Yvonne.mullens in the facilities team, to support you in all your working practices to help make Milton Keynes Council a more sustainable council. As I say, please visit our intranet pages for resources that you can print off. You might also like to visit the council web pages where we've got extensive information about what can and can't be recycled, and is often a useful place to go to if you need to be reminded or maybe for colleagues to look up information. And do watch our YouTube video to learn more about how the recycling factory works. As I say, Yvonne and myself are always here to help and support you in any way we can. Thank you very much indeed for volunteering to be a Milton Keynes Staff Recycling Champion.